Yo, what's going on? Today, I'm going to be going over my results in the Grand Challenge last November. It's been a little over a month since then, but this was my first Grand Challenge. Technically, I actually entered the one in September, but I was only able to play 3 matches because I was really busy. So, this is technically my first actual one where I actually competed, was able to compete. And I actually did really good, at least based on what I was aiming for, what my goal was. I was really just hoping to maybe get, at best, top 500. And I exceeded that expectation. I got 232 globally, and I found out that I actually got top 100 NA, North America. I believe it was 74th. And I got that with this rating of 1648. I don't know what my record was. I wasn't really keeping track. I started out really good. Like in my first 15 matches, I was like 12-3 or something. So I was feeling like really good about that because that record in an actual in-person tournament not only would get me to day 2, but I could get to top 8 with that record. Depending on the amount of people. So even if from that point in the tournament I fell off, I still would have been very happy with how I played. Because at that point my rating was 1630, 1638. I actually did drop a lot after that, but then I went on a winning streak towards the end, and I clawed my way back to this final rating of 1648. I did do all 45 of my matches. So I literally could not have tried to improve this. I was out of matches, but it was really fun. And it made me want to compete in more in-person tournaments. And so I do want to compete in more in-person tournaments. I'm looking at locals. There's one that's, I think, a 30-minute drive from me. So looking into going that sometime. But currently the format is Regulation F, which I have been playing, and I will be participating in the Grand Challenge next weekend. I'm currently making my team for that in-game. Actually have to buy and play through both DLCs because I didn't bother buying them, and got my DLC Pokemon through other people and trading. But now I was like, well, if I'm gonna be going in person, I should probably be able to train up teams for myself. But I am looking forward to when Pokemon Champions comes out, because I won't have to be spending all that time training those Pokemon. That'll be much easier in Pokemon Champions. Did I say Champions before? I might have said a different word. I might have said Showdown. Thank you. I'm glad you like my title. Okay. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to be talking about my team, the team that I brought. And then I'm going to be watching some of the matches I played, particularly the ones where I won. Now, it obviously is helpful to watch the matches where you lost to learn where you can improve. But we're here to see how I was able to get this placement that I did. So we're gonna see the wins, most of the wins. Now, obviously, there's too many battles to go through. It would take hours. So I'm just gonna be going over some of them. But first, I'm just gonna talk about the team. So I decided to bring a Parish Trap team. Popularized by Wolfe Glick, the world champion himself. One of his favorite strategies. It's also known as one of the hardest strategies to pilot. because of all the branches of paths that you can take, because these games can sometimes last very long, and every decision, every turn matters so much, because one like bad mistake using this type of team could easily cost you the entire game. Meanwhile, most other teams, you're able to afford a few mistakes here and there. So my starting point for this team was the Toronto regional team that Wolfe won, which was basically this exact same team, except instead of Ursaluna, he was using a Life Orb Terra Stellar Kingdra. Now, I found when I was trying to just use basically the exact same thing as Wolfe's team, that I wasn't really able to make the Kingdra work as well as he was, and also I was losing multiple matches from missing Draco Meteor or Muddy Waters. And I figured that with Ursaluna as a Pokemon to just knock things out in one shot, this also gives me a stronger Trick Room mode. So that was kind of the logic for why I decided to go with Ursaluna. Also, it gives me another Electric Resist and a Ghost Resist, which with Annihilape's increase in usage compared to, at least I'm pretty sure it has an increase in usage compared to during the Toronto regional. Being able to be immune to that Rage Fist is actually super crucial. And it's a Terra Ghost Ursaluna, so I can also be immune to their Drain Punch, but most of the time, it's much more important to be immune to that Rage Fist. And Ursaluna actually did end up doing a lot of work in most of the games I brought it to. And it was definitely a great addition. So we have a pretty standard Power Herb Archaludon set where it's sturdy so it can always survive a hit, max speed, timid, and then max special attack. Your goal is to just, this thing was one-shotting Goldangos left and right, and that was like its main purpose because of how hard Goldango just shuts down Trick Room. So you know what, actually, I think it'll be easier to talk about the team. 1 second. What did I save it as? I don't remember what I saved it as. There it is. Okay. 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 Yeah, that works. You're able to see that you need to see. Okay. So this is the team I was using. Let me make myself a little smaller. Okay. This is the team I was using. One thing I did was I put Protect in the, let me use red. I put Protect in the first slot for every single Pokemon, and I gave every Pokemon Protect, even Incineroar, who normally doesn't run Protect. I gave Protect because it's so important with Perish Trap for Perish Song. You need to be able to stall out those 3 turns for Perish Song. And then having it in the first slot means if I run out of time, don't click a move in time, it just automatically uses Protect. Which I think might have happened in a couple of games. So it is relevant. It is important. So Archaludon, standard Terra Electric, Electro Shot, Power Herb, Sturdy set. You just want to one-shot stuff with Electro Shot. You can always survive at least one attack. Goldangos, if they're not bulky, 100% KO. If they just have like a little bit of bulk, then it's like a roll whether it will kill. And the Goldangos can EV train to always survive this Electro Shot, but only like 2 Goldangos throughout the entire tournament actually survived a Terra Electric Electro Shot, which is super important because of how hard Goldango counters Perish Song and Shadow Tag. It's a ghost type, so it can't be trapped by Shadow Tag, and its ability makes it immune to Perish Song. So basically, it's important that I have ways to kill it without Perish Song. So that's Electro Shot, that is Knockoff from Incineroar, and that is Headlong Rush from Ursaluna, which Ursaluna did KO multiple Goldangos as well. And I don't yet. Kingdra can't one-shot Goldango. So there's one big difference between Kingdra and Ursaluna that mattered, because Goldango also felt like had more usage than, actually probably about the same compared to Toronto. Very high usage. Almost, it felt like 75% of teams had a Goldango. It was crazy. Gothitelle, very standard. I was using Terra Water for a lot of the training, but I changed it to Terra Dark to better deal with Annihilape's Rage Fist because of just how many Annihilapes I was running into, like every team. Hey, what's up, Lord West 111? How's it going? Normal Psychic as just an attacking move. A lot of fighting types. Fake Out, super important to stall a turn, and then Trick Room for helping with Ursaluna, countering those like super fast teams and just having better positioning for the rest of the team. Can you please play some Reg F? I will be playing in the Grand Challenge next weekend, and I don't know if I will stream that because I feel like I play worse when I'm streaming. But I will record it and probably do the same thing that I'm doing right now, which is going over my results of the Reg H Grand Challenge. I do have a team already. It's a pretty saucy team. It's got some gimmicks in there. A little bit of best of one cheese, because that's the game that we play with the Grand Challenge. But I still have to make it in game, which I'm doing right now. But I did get to number 6 rank on Showdown a few days ago. Now I'm like 22nd because I haven't played since then. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm looking forward to that team. Yes, so the arch right here is sturdy instead of stamina because it is max speed, max special attack, no bulk investment. So it actually gets one shot like a lot. So having sturdy is super important for guaranteeing that I can survive at least one hit. And also stamina is not going to be as useful because I'm so frail already with no bulk investment. And the main goal of our Chaladon is to just one-shot Goldangos with Terra Electric Electro Shot. Because this is for Reg H. This is a Reg H team, so Goldangos were all over the place, and it was super important because of how hard Goldango counters the Perish Trap. So next, pretty much the most important Pokemon on the team that I was bringing to every game was Politoed. It sets up Rain for our Chaladon, which also helps Amoonguss survive fire attacks and makes it so Torkoal and like Trick Room can't just run over the team. And then it also is my only source of Perish Song. So Politoed and Gothitelle is a great lead to trap the opponent's Pokemon and then hopefully KO them both with Perish Song while I fake out one of them. And then Politoed and our Chaladon is also great. But what I actually like doing is our Chaladon and then like Amoonguss or Incineroar or maybe even Gothitelle. So that I can support the Archaladon at the beginning, and then after I've used my Power Herb with Electro Shot, I can then switch into Politoed with my other slot, set up the rain and then just click Electro Shot again when they don't expect it. So Politoed, Weather Ball for some strong stab when the rain is up. Perish Song, super important for comboing with Gothitelle. And then Encore, which actually ended up being like super helpful for like just guaranteeing late games. Like if somebody clicks Fake Out, oh, this is what you think it is. This is Perish Trap. This isn't quite Wolfie's team. This was his Toronto team, but I replaced the Kingdra with an Ursaluna for a stronger Trick Room mode. What cheater? What's cheating about Perish Trap? I think Perish Trap is the most skillful, one of the most skillful ways of playing. It requires the most brain power, in my opinion. Let's see. Terra Grass to deal with Spore, survive electric type attacks, or grass type attacks that would normally one-shot Politoed. Keeping Politoed alive for as long as possible is like the most important Pokemon to keep alive. Because Gothitelle, it's important to keep alive for like one Perish Trap, and then usually after that it's like dead weight. Because if 2 Pokemon on my opponents are already knocked out and they only have 2 left, then Shadow Tag is useless because they can't switch anyway. And also it deals like barely any damage with Psychic. But with Politoed, setting up that rain is super important, so you want to keep it alive so that you can switch it out and then switch it back in to set up rain later. And then also keeping it alive so maybe you can click another Perish Song is super important to keep in mind. So that's why Leftovers is such a great item on Politoed, because it's very common where I'll have games where I get like 6 turns of Leftovers recovery, you know? Which is more than Citrus Berry. I believe you need 4 turns for it to be equal to Citrus Berry recovery. Incineroar, this is a safety goggles set to help with Amoonguss, because Amoonguss kind of just underspeeds everything in Trick Room. We can put everything to sleep except for Ursaluna, another great addition, because Kingdra just gets put to sleep, but Ursaluna, once it gets burned, it can't be statused by anything else because it's already statused. So this gives me more help for Amoonguss. Knockoff is my only attacking move, but it actually ended up like being the only attacking move I needed, because with the rain like always being set up, Flare Blitz would be doing half damage. And I don't need U-turn because I have Parting Shot, which is super important. Cycling Intimidate, Fake Out, and Parting Shot is just so important for this this whole Perish Trap strategy. You weaken the opponent's Pokemon with Intimidate and Parting Shot, and then you just keep them trapped in, doing like no damage, and then you can just keep that like one of the weakened Pokemon alive for like the entire battle and just knock out whoever's next to it, as long as you keep Gothitelle alive and keep that Shadow Tag active. And Incineroar is so important for being able to do that. And so that's one way that Shadow Tag can be insanely useful without even needing Perish Song. But yes, Protect on Incineroar. That definitely caught some people off guard. Narwhal, can you please bring Perish Trap into Reg F, especially because you know who is coming back? Who, Urshifu? I tried to make a Perish Trap team for Reg F. I could not do it. It just was not strong enough. Mega Gengar. Oh, I wish Mega Gengar was in the game already, but he will be back for Pokemon Champions. I can't wait. I'm not even kidding. One of the first teams I want to make when Pokemon Champions comes out is a Mega Gengar team. They already showed that Gengar's in the game. The Mega Gengar will be in the game. I'm 100% going to be making a Mega Gengar Perish Trap team. For sure. Because I actually didn't start playing competitive Pokemon until like technically like 2019. So Mega Gengar was legal at the time, but I was like just learning about it and I was really bad. So I didn't like actually start until like Sword and Shield, and by that point Megas were gone. So I've never actually like used a Mega Gengar VGC team at all. So that's one of the Megas I want to use the most. Next, Ursaluna, super important for matchups where Archaludon like isn't good, or like just Trick Room looks really strong, or if like I can't Perish Song, I have an alternative way to knock out opponents. Just a very standard set. Biggest difference is Shadow Claw instead of Earthquake, because I don't have any Earthquake immunities. I do have Protect on every Pokemon, but in my testing, I found that Shadow Claw was actually super important for Annihilate. I know I've already mentioned like 3 different ways of countering Annihilate, but this came in handy. Terraghost Shadow Claw with Guts will one-shot Annihilate. I think even at +1 defense. Maybe not the +1 defense. But I know that at +1 defense, Headlong Rush will not one-shot. Shadow Claw will, I'm pretty sure. And it actually did matter, like twice. Also, Sinistra is immune to Facade and resists Headlong Rush. Shadow Claw just easily one-shots it. So Ursaluna was great. Terraghost also helped a lot with like Sneaslers and just fighting types in general. Mega Gengar, Ursaluna, Insane, Hydrapple, Miraidon, and Iron Thorns. Well, see, the one thing is that we don't even know every Pokemon that'll be in Champions, you know? Like, I have a pretty strong feeling that, maybe not a strong feeling, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if, like, Miraidon, Iron Thorns aren't in the game initially and get added later on. So, I think I'll have to just, like, wait and see what's actually in the game on release, and then see what I can make a team with. I'm pretty sure they showed Politoed. Maybe not. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. But if Politoed is in there, then Politoed Mega Gengar. Okay, next. Let me just move myself over a little bit. Amoonguss. This way, yes. Okay. Amoonguss, super important in certain matchups as well, especially with Terra Fairy, because Choice Band Dragonite is actually a menace against this team. So having, same with Dragapult. Those Dragon Darts, just Choice Band, maybe even Life Orb. Dragapult kind of just decimates this team. They can't intimidate it. Nothing resists it. So having Terra Fairy on this Amoonguss was super important. Eject button allows me to, if I just protected with my Gothitelle, I can switch Gothitelle into Amoonguss so that the opponent attacks it, and then it switches back into Gothitelle to maintain the Shadow Tag, and then I can protect Gothitelle the next turn while the opponent's feint to Perish Song. So that actually came into play multiple times. Spore, just an amazing move. Rage Powder to keep other Pokemon safe, like Archaludon, Ursaluna, or Gothitelle. If I need to maintain Shadow Tag, I don't have Protect. And then Sludge Bomb as my source of damage, which actually I ended up doing a good amount of damage with the Amoonguss. Having Sludge Bomb as the one attack move is great because Rillaboom is also kind of a problem with U-turn and Fake Out. So having Sludge Bomb was great to hit those Rillabooms. And yeah, that was the team I used. Now let's get into the actual battles. Okay. Yep, here we go. Should I mute? Probably. Okay, so I lost my first match. I made like some stupid misplay at some point. I wasn't paying attention to something. Just kind of just threw the game away. So I started out with a loss. But I pulled it back with this second game. Did I have the audio on? Aren't you gonna get on Pokemon Narwhal? What, Pokemon Showdown? Right now I'm just going over my matches from the last Grand Challenge in November. And how I ended up getting the placement that I got, which was I don't have it pulled up anymore. Whatever. Oh, whoops! Didn't mean to show that. Which was 232 globally, 232nd. We shall probably make a team together, you know. Team together. I'm not gonna theory craft a team for champions since I don't know what Pokemon will be in it yet. But me and you on Showdown. What do you want, a 1v1? Right now, I'm just gonna go over my matches. Maybe after. Okay, so this match, I'm going up against a rain team. I fought so many rain teams during this Grand Challenge. It was like every other team was Pelipper, Archaludon, Basculegion. King Gambit is also another insanely threatening Pokemon for this team. Ursaluna helps. Its high physical defense means that Sucker Punch doesn't do too much damage. Dragonite, insanely threatening if even if it's not choice band. The loaded dice set is also super threatening because I don't have any resists without Terra. So looking at his team, he has no Electro Shot resists except for Archaludon. But that thing has a low special defense. And since I'm max speed, I know that I will either outspeed him or speed tie, but most likely outspeed because these rain teams are like always Assault Vest. Archaludon, never max speed. So my Archaludon looks amazing here. So I'm just thinking I want to lead Archaludon and I want to protect it. So I decided to lead Archaludon and Amoonguss with Gothitelle and Politoed in the back, so that I can hopefully pick up 2 quick knockouts and then finish the game off with a Perish Trap. So my opponent leads Pelipper and Dragonite. So it's looking pretty safe for my Archaludon to just click Electro Shot. I don't even need to Terra because I can just Rage Powder with the Amoonguss to protect my Archaludon from the Dragonite's attack. And since I'm worried about Choice Band Outrage, I decide to Terra Fairy Rage Powder. Since I expect the Dragonite to be adamant with max speed, which hits like 132 speed, I believe, which is faster than even max speed Timid Pelipper. So I'm like, okay, if Dragonite's attacking here, it's going to go before Pelipper. So if it's going for an Outrage or a Scale Shot, that'll be redirected into my Amoonguss and will do no damage, which means I also would keep intact my eject button. But we see that my Archaludon moves first, so I know there's no choice scarfs. We actually see that the Pelipper has a focus sash, and the Dragonite goes for Tailwind. So wasn't expecting that. I was actually expecting Pelipper to be the one clicking Tailwind. So then Pelipper uses Hurricane into my Amoonguss, but because of my eject button, that gives me a free switch out to my Gothitelle. That way, I can trap the Pelipper and Dragonite in here, because neither of them can... Now that I know that this Dragonite is not choice band, it's not as threatening. And I also expect it to be the multi-scale... the multi-scale set, so no inner focus, so I can fake out it. Now right here, they just set up Tailwind, so they're both faster than my Archaludon, or they both should be. The obvious play from my opponent's point of view, is I'm going to fake out the Pelipper because Pelipper has 1 health, and that's the only way that I can attack before it. So I decide not to make that play because I know that the Pelipper was Focus Sash, and it's very common for Focus Sash Pelippers to be Terra Ghost. And this would actually be a great opportunity for them to Terra Ghost here, be immune to that fake out, and then just double up into my Archaludon. And my Archaludon is so important, just because of how good it is into the rest of their team. So I'm not going to make that play. I don't know how much I can fast forward. Since they just set up Tailwind, I decide to make a different play. A play that will set me up to win this game in the future rather than pick up a knockout right now. And as I predicted, they do Terra Ghost the Pelipper, and they actually protect the Dragonite. Probably because they were worried about me faking out the Dragonite. And then they protect the Pelipper, which I was initially confused about. I was like, why did you Terra and then protect? What is the point of that? Why not just protect and then Terra the next turn? But then I realized, since they're Terra Ghost, they can now switch out of my Shadow Tag. I'm no longer trapping them. But now I get the Trick Room up. And since they just set up Tailwind, see, the first turn, my Archaludon was faster than both of their Pokemon. But they set up Tailwind, so now both of them are faster than my Archaludon. So now with the Trick Room up, now my Archaludon is back to being faster than both of them until their Tailwind runs out. And my Gothitelle, definitely, my Gothitelle is the fastest thing on the field now. So they just protected both. This seems like a pretty easy Electro Shot into the Dragonite slot. And then I was thinking about Psychicking the Pelipper, but then I realized that they just Terra Ghosted and protected to get immune to Shadow Tag. It's probably because they want to switch out this turn. So I did not target the Pelipper, and I remembered that since Gothitelle goes first, it'll break the multiscale, which will allow my Archaludon to KO this Dragonite, which I know is not going to protect because it just used Protect. And this turn goes amazing. They don't do any damage to me. I knock out the Dragonite. If I had just Electro-Shotted or even Terra Electro-Shot that Dragonite, even though I would have been at +3 special attack, it would not have killed. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that because of multiscale, it would have lived. So that Psychic was super important. So now I have a +3 Archaludon. They sent out King Gambit. Archaludon, their Archaludon is probably Assault Vest. So I don't have to worry about the Archaludon protecting. So I decided to double up into it because I'm worried about their King Gambit using Protect here. So I hit the Psychic. It does barely any damage, and it gets stamina, so I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely Assault Vest. And then a +3 Dragon Pulse doesn't KO. Are you kidding me? Like, what? And then they one-shot me with Kowtow Cleave. But at this point, they have a 1-health Pelipper, a 1-health Archaludon, and a King Gambit, who I find out is Life Orb. I actually think without Life Orb, it doesn't KO. With Black Glasses, it would KO, though. So now they Body Press me, and they're at +2 defense because I hit them twice. Even if that would have knocked out, my Sturdy would have made me live. And then now I can either send out Politoed or Amoonguss, but the rain is about to end. So I don't want to send in Politoed. And the Trick Room is still up. Now, Tailwind just ended, but there's, I think, one more turn of, or no. There's 2 more turns of Trick Room, I believe. Yeah, there's 2 more turns of Trick Room. This turn and the next turn. Since I know that there are 2 more turns, even if they protect their King Gambit this turn from my Spore, they won't be able to protect the following turn without risking a double protect. And I know that they can't Terra Grass because Pelipper already Terra'd Ghost, and I know that they're not Safety Goggles King Gambit because I saw the Life Orb. So in this position, I'm thinking I've got this game under wraps, but I actually think there were ways that I could have lost this game. Because remember that Amoonguss can't do any damage to Archaludon and King Gambit because they're both Steel types. I only have Sludge Bomb. And my last Pokemon is Politoed, which its only attacking move is Weather Ball. And if the rain ends, that's a 50 base power normal type attack. And Trick Room is still up. So my Archaludon gets outsped by both of their Pokemon. I can protect my Archaludon with Rage Powder, but I'm worried that the King Gambit would one-shot my Amoonguss with Iron Head, and then Archaludon would knock out my Archaludon. So now that I put the King Gambit to sleep, with this last turn of Trick Room, I can Rage Powder and try to Electro Shot into the King Gambit, or knock out the Archaludon. I forget what I choose. And I still have my Power Herb, even though Rain is not up. I still have my Power Herb because Rain has been up since turn 1. So those 3 Electro Shots I used, never used my Power Herb. So I decide to Electro Shot into the King Gambit. I'm like, at +4 special attack, it's got a KO. And then actually, instead of Rage Powdering, I can Spore, since it's the last turn of Trick Room. Now this play could have lost me the game. Because if they use Sucker Punch this turn, into my Archaludon, they would have just knocked me out. And then I just would have been screwed. So even though I have a +4 special attack Archaludon, they've done barely any damage to my team. Well, they knocked out my Gothitelle and they got my Archaludon to 1 health. I was actually like this close to losing this game. If they just Sucker Punch there, I would have lost. But now I can safely Rage Powder my Amoonguss and Electroshot the King Gambit, which just protected. So now my Archaludon will be at +5 special attack. Dude, Archaludon popped off in this game. They actually switch out their King Gambit. This was a good play by them. They sacrificed their Archaludon. Okay, so we knock out Archaludon here. The Pelipper stays asleep. It's actually guaranteed to sleep that turn. So now I'm feeling pretty good. Because now I can just Rage Powder for the rest of the game and just knock everything out with Archaludon. And that's exactly what happens. King Gambit protects, but I actually predicted the protect and Electroshotted into the Pelipper instead. Now we get the +6 special attack. Oh, wait. Sorry, my bad. I actually did not predict the protect. I did Electroshot into King Gambit that turn because I figured... what's it called? I can always just knock out Pelipper with Amoonguss at some point. King Gambit is by far the biggest threat, so I'm just prioritizing knocking out King Gambit. But now I finally get my +6 special attack Archaludon. Archaludon's special attack won't go any higher. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see that text on a bulky Assault Vest Archaludon, maybe with like a Sinistra on your team. But I'm using a no bulk, max speed, max special attack Archaludon, and I just was able to use 7 Electro Shots, about to be 8 Electro Shots in one game. Oh, I guess I used Dragon Pulse instead of Electro Shot. I should have used Electro Shot. And that was my first win. So now let's move on to game 2. But before I do that, I need to drink some water. Okay. That was game number 2. I believe I lose this game. Population Bomb, Mousehold, they get Trick Room up, and yeah, they just sweep with Torkoal. And then I win this game. So in this game, I'm fighting a Weezing team. This team is very similar to the one that, I'm pretty sure this is similar to the one that Wolfe Glick brought to the Baltimore Regional, which I wish I went to because I live so close to there. But oh well. Hopefully there'll be a regional in Baltimore sometime in the future. So this matchup's a little tricky because the Weezing shuts down Drizzle, which is super important on Politoed, and it also shuts down Shadow Tag. It also shuts down Guts on Ursaluna, so the Flame Orb is actually a hindrance, unless I'm using Facade. But with only 5 seconds left, I'm like, I gotta pick my team, and I decide to lock in these 4. Now, I bring Ursaluna this match. I found out while in my testing with this team, playing Showdown, that Ursaluna is like the missing piece to beating this type of team, this architect of team with Toad Scroll and Galarian Weezing. Because Toad Scroll just wants to click Spore on everything. But when my Ursaluna gets burned and it can't be put to sleep by Spore, it's free to, even though abilities are turned off, I'm free to just click Facade into like basically everyone except for Gholdengo. And Facade actually one-shots the Toad Scroll. It doesn't one-shot Weezing, but it one-shots the Toad Scroll. And I definitely got multiple Facade one-shots on Toad Scrolls while testing. So I know that the Toad Scroll is Covert Cloak. They're always Covert Cloak on this team, so there's no point in me trying to fake it out. Instead, I decide, let me just fake out the Weezing so that I can at least prevent the Weezing from doing damage to me, because I know they're going to click Spore. I've at this point, I've accepted it, that like something's getting put to sleep. Technically, I could have protected Archaludon, and then Parting Shot into one of them, but I mean, actually, that would have been a good play, because what that does is that gets in Ursaluna, gets it burned, and then I can facade, and then switch our Chaladon into Incineroar, who has safety goggles. So actually, that would have been a better play than what I ended up doing. Because now my Archaladon is asleep. It's burned one turn of sleep at least, but that's not good. Fortunately, Archaladon isn't like crazy good into the rest of the team. Like they have a Garchomp, they have Kilowattrel, which outspeeds. They do have Goldango though. So they actually switch out Toedscruel here, and I decide to keep in my Archaladon because no, I switched it out. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. That's right. I switch in Archaladon to Ursaluna because I know they're not going to click Spore into that slot. And I'm not surprised that they didn't click Spore into Incineroar because they expect it to be safety goggles. But now I get a parting shot into the Weezing. They're usually choice specs, and that looked like choice specs damage. I bring in Politoed because Archaladon is sleeping. Now I know that Drizzle doesn't activate, so Weather Ball is useless. It's just a 50 base power normal type attack. But I didn't bring Politoed in here for Weather Ball. You'll see. I brought Politoed in to do something far more sinister. I double protect. My green screen acting up. Hold on. So I take a little bit of burn chip, but their Incineroar just clicked Fake Out, which means now with my Politoed, which I believe has some speed investment. I forget the EVs I gave it, but I expect it to outspeed Incineroar. And I decided to Facade instead of High Horse or Headlong Rush. I don't know if Headlong Rush kills, because since Guts isn't active, I don't get the attack bonus, but I Encore the Incineroar into Fake Out. So now they have a -1 special attack Weezing on the field, and a Incineroar which can't do anything except for click Fake Out. So they click Dazzling Gleam, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and I get my boosted Facade up, which actually keeps the Weezing alive, which is actually better for me. If it knocked out there, they get a free switch in, but now they're in a position where I can outspeed and KO their Weezing with Weather Ball, and then I can get a free Facade into their left slot, unless they have Goldango in the back, which could switch into that. And so that's exactly what I do. Solve the left slot, try to Weather Ball the right slot. They switch Incineroar out, right, into the Toedscruel, which, as I said earlier, when I was testing, this thing was getting one-shot by my non-Guts boosted Facade consistently. But Weezing also switches out. So now Drizzle activates and Guts is active. So this Toedscruel is gone, and I see Goldango is their last one. So they could have just switched Goldango into the left slot, been immune to the Facade, and then Toedscruel into the right slot, and just taken a Weather Ball. And they actually would have been in a great position if they made that play. But since they made this play, I get a one-hit knockout and half of the health of the Goldango. Ooh, the green screen is still kind of messed up. Hold on. Oh, that's why. Because the stupid background of the game is green. Hold on. Oh, there we go. That's a lot better. Okay. So they bring in Incineroar, so they get a attack drop on my Ursaluna. And I'm looking at my Pokemon in the back. I'd love to get attack drop on their Incin, and also Incineroar is great for their Goldango. But they also have Fake Out. So I just decided to make the play I made last time, which is double protecting, and see what they go for. Now this was pretty risky because they could have Fake Out and then Nasty Plot with Goldango. Whoa. What the heck is that? What's going on? Heck, is this a problem with the recording? What is this? Heck happened? Oh, okay. Okay. So, yeah. I don't know what that was. But after the double protect, so, okay. Last time this exact situation happened, where I double protected and they faked out, I encored the Incineroar into Fake Out. So I'm thinking, they're not going to let me do that again, right? Like, they're gonna switch the Incineroar into Wheezing, right? So predicting that, I don't encore the Incineroar, and instead, I think I clicked Headlong Rush there, and then I Weather Ball into the Goldango because it did half of its health. The other Weather Ball did half of its health, so this one should knock it out. This felt like a safe play. Like, they're obviously going to switch out their Incineroar, right? But they actually protect the Goldango and don't switch the Incineroar. So I easily could have just encored. Wait, did they just outspeed me, or wait, did I miss something? Or did my Weather Ball come out into the protect? No, they outsped me. Wait. Was it a speed tie? Didn't I outspeed them earlier? I think that was a speed tie. That actually makes it so much funnier. So yeah, they make this play instead. So I get the knockout onto the Wheezing, but now they get Incineroar back in for free. And they get to intimidate my Ursaluna again, and they get to pressure with Fake Out. But it's a 2v4 right now. My Archaludon's asleep, but my Incineroar has a good amount of health. So I'm thinking and I still have Terra. So I'm thinking there's like no way I can lose this game. But I know that the rain is gonna end soon. So it would be bad if I just kept Politoed in. And the obvious play is to protect, right? But if I protect and they Nasty Plot, I'm in a bad situation. Which is what they do. See, they Nasty Plot and they don't Fake Out. Instead, they knock off and knock out my Ursaluna. So I guess I would have been in like the same situation if I had protected Politoed there. Well, no, because okay, I'm in a better situation here. because Rain is still active. So if I bring in Politoed now, Rain ends like next turn or something, and then I'm in a bad situation. So now is the time to bring in our Chaladon and try to use these sleep turns and wake up. Now I've already used one turn, so I have a chance to wake up this next turn. Pretty decent chance to wake up on this turn right here. I attempt to Electroshot the Goldango. And then with my Incineroar, I double up the Goldango. I don't know why. I guess to cover for if I stayed asleep. Since Goldango's +2, it's my highest priority to get rid of it. So yeah, I doubled up into the Goldango to cover for if I stayed asleep, I'd still be able to knock out the Goldango, but I wake up. So now the game is wrapped up. Their only Pokemon is Incineroar. I still have Politoed in the back. And yeah, that's the game. But I mean, I do switch Incineroar back out of Politoed and Terra Electroshot because I am curious how much damage this does to a full health Incineroar that I know is not Assault Vest. Okay, I guess it wasn't full health, so it actually ends up knocking out. But usually a full health Incineroar will survive. Since it wasn't full health, it got knocked out. And yeah, that was my second win. Next game, Komodo gets set up and sweeps my team. So I lose this game. So now I'm sitting at a record of 2-3. So I'm actually feeling pretty bad about how I'm doing right now. Like I'm winning some games, but if this was a tournament, I'm out. I got 3 losses. I go 2-3. I'm sad about that. But this isn't a normal in-person tournament. So after this loss, I'm able to keep playing. And so from this point on, I start playing really good. Like I think I get on a crazy win streak or something. Maybe like 9 wins in a row. I don't know. But this game, I want to highlight this game for sure. Because I make one of the best plays I've ever made in competitive Pokemon, which it doesn't seem like a insane play, but I'll get to it. Okay, so looking at the team, I'm seeing a Hisuian Samurott. I'm thinking, what does this thing do? I've never fought a single one of these when testing this team. But I also see Goldango. So I'm like, I gotta bring our Chaladon. Our Chaladon also has a great matchup into the rest of their team. Nothing on their team can resist both Electroshot and Flash Cannon. So I lead with our Chaladon and Gothitelle. They lead Samurott Annihilate. So I'm thinking, like, if you're going to lead Annihilate not next to Mousehold, is this Scarf Annihilate? And then I'm wondering what item the Samurott is, what Terra type the Samurott is, and it's just too much to think about. Because I've never fought like a single Hisuian Samurott. And so I'm thinking of all these things, all these possibilities. I'm like, what if it's Scarf Annihilate? What if it's Sucker Punch into my Archaladon and then Final Gambit? Like, if my Archaladon goes down turn 1, like, game's probably over. I really feel like I need to pick up a KO here. And I'm running out of time, so I just lock in Terra Electroshot into the Samurott. 2 seconds, 1 second. I go to fake out the Samurott, but I misclick because time was running so short, and I end up clicking fake out on the Annihilate. So this turn, right now I'm thinking, oh, I'm such an idiot. Like, oh, I messed up. I'm gonna lose this game for sure. But they end up tearing their Samurott to poison. I actually thought they were about to tear it to ghost, and it wouldn't have mattered who I faked out. They tear a poison. I whiff the fake out, and then the Annihilate uses bulk up. This is important. Annihilate just went before my Archaludon. My Archaludon is max speed. Shit's like 150 speed set. Annihilate needs to be basically max speed in order to outspeed my Archaludon. So I know that this Annihilate is max speed. I Power Herb, Terra Electric, Electro Shot the Samurott, and fortunately, it one-shots. Now, since they Swords Danced, I did not get punished for whipping that fake out. I one-shot them, they don't do any damage to me, but they do get a bulk up, and I know that they're faster than my Archaludon. So I'm actually not feeling too good about the situation I'm in right now, because they just bring in Indeedee here, Indeedee male, which I'm thinking, okay, so it's not Scarf Annihilate, it's probably Scarf Indeedee, or it could be Focus Sash Indeedee. And also Indeedee is a higher base speed stat than my Archaludon. So I'm thinking, well, Annihilate outspeeds, can just bulk up Drain Punch, and then Indeedee outspeeds and will knock out my Archaludon with Expanding Force plus the Annihilate attack. And my Archaludon is like the most important thing on my team, pretty much, to win this game. At least that's what I'm thinking. But just the pressure got to me. I don't know what to say. I completely forgot about what I did the previous turn because I ran out of time and the pressure got to me and I clicked Electroshot after I had just used my Power Herb and the rain is not set up. Now, if I had clicked Dragon Pulse, I'm in a great situation here. If I Dragon Pulse and Psychic into the Annihilate, Annihilate's dead. Annihilate's knocked out, and I'm feeling great about this. I'm up 4-2. But no, I misclicked Electroshot. Or not really a misclick, I just wasn't thinking, and now I'm like, well, I'm screwed. Because now they Expanding Force and then Rage Fist my Gothitelle. They get a double knockout. I have Incineroar and Politoed in the back. Incineroar gives Annihilate a Defiant boost, and they can just Drain Punch my Incineroar since I've already used Terra, and then Politoed just can't do anything. But then I think, how can I knock out this Annihilate? I can't outspeed it. I know that they both outspeed my entire team, because Incineroar and Politoed are both slower than Archaludon, and they both outspeed Archaludon. And then I have a Eureka moment. I'm going to manipulate my opponent into making the play that I want them to make through one of the 7 deadly sins, greed. I bring in my Incineroar here. I bring in my Incineroar against an Annihilate and Indeedee. I can't fake out because Psychic Terrain is here. I intimidate their Annihilate, giving them a Defiant boost, and I can't Terra. I've already Terra'd. So now they have this +2 attack Annihilate with a juicy Drain Punch into this Incineroar. I just manipulated them into wanting to click Drain Punch when Rage Fist into my Gothitelle is the better play, always. My Incineroar can't do anything to their +1 defense Annihilate. But they don't realize that I have Protect on my Incineroar. So they Drain Punch into the protected Incineroar, and I find the one single way that I win this game. And I Psychic the Annihilate, knock it out. Cinema. And obviously their last Pokemon is Magmar, which I've already won. Magmar can't touch Incineroar and Politoed, and Indeedee can't touch Incineroar. This game's wrapped up. Which just goes to show, like, that's why they wanted to Drain Punch with Annihilate, because they're thinking, I need to keep Annihilate alive. You know, Incineroar never runs Protect, I can just Drain Punch, get all my HP back. But if they had just Rage Fisted the Gothitelle, my Incineroar can't knock them out, and then they can just Drain Punch the next turn, because my other two Pokemon were Amoonguss, Ursaluna, and Politoed. Those are the only Pokemon I had in the back, all of which are slower than Annihilate. So they would have just won the game if they had just Rage Fisted the Gothitelle. But I manipulated them into clicking that Drain Punch. Because with +2 attack, they'll one-shot, they'll get all their HP back. How can you pass up on that? Greed. Take advantage of other players' greed. And that is how I found the one way to win that game. I don't remember what happens in this game. I won. Okay. Yeah, I'll go over this game. Okay. So, fighting a pretty standard team. A bunch of threats. Annihilate, Dragonite, Goldango, Rillaboom, and Ursaluna Bloodmoon. So 5 big threats, and Ninetales to get rid of my rain. So their entire team just counters my team pretty much. On paper, this looks like a horrible matchup, and they lead double ghost, meaning my Shadow Tag that I just started with and my Fake Out that I have is useless. I'm thinking this is a horrible lead by me. I'm just in such a bad position. But I can potentially get a one-shot on their Goldango here. The Annihilate, because even if the Annihilate outspeeds my Archaludon, it can't one-shot because I have Sturdy. And then so instead of switching Gothitelle out, I actually click Trick Room in order to set my Incineroar and Politoed in the backup for the future. And we see that they bulk up and outspeed my Archaludon, which means that the Trick Room that I just clicked is even better, because my Archaludon will outspeed their Annihilate in Trick Room. And then we see my Archaludon goes before their Goldango and does what it did all throughout this Grand Challenge and picks up the one-hit KO on this poor Goldango. So, what started out as a bad lead by me turned into a great position by me. Because now I can Psychic the Annihilate, I can double up into the Annihilate, but then they bring out Rillaboom. So now they have Fake Out pressure, and it gets a little more complicated. So I'm thinking they're probably going to want to Fake Out the Archaludon. My Archaludon is +1 special attack. It's a lot more threatening than the Gothitelle. But at the same time, my Gothitelle can hit their Annihilate with Psychic. My Archaludon can't hit their Annihilate for super effective damage. So, you know, I kind of just feel like I think it's a good play to double up into the Annihilate, because that way I'm basically guaranteed to get damage into Annihilate. Because if they Fake Out one of them, then the other one attacks into the Annihilate, and they're not gonna Fake Out and Protect, you know, like that would be a weird play. So they actually end up Rage Fisting into Gothitelle, and they get a crit. Now this matters, I think. Actually, no, hold on, let me think. So the Gothitelle is EV trained to survive a one boost from a Rage Fist always. And I think it's EV trained. I think it is EV trained to survive +1 attack, 1 boost Rage Fist. Maybe I'm forgetting. Maybe I have that wrong, but that crit I'm pretty sure mattered. And my Gothitelle should not have gotten one shot there. So now I can either bring in Politoed or Incineroar. But since Trick Room is up, and my Archaludon outspeeds their Annihilate in Trick Room, I bring in the Incineroar here because I have no problem with giving them +1 attack with the Intimidate, which lowers by 1, and then Defiant +2. So now their Annihilate's at +2 attack, but since my Archaludon can outspeed and then knock it out, I don't have to worry about that. I can just fake out the Rillaboom and target down the Annihilate with my Archaludon. And I believe there are 3 more turns of Trick Room left. So they can't just keep protecting their Annihilate. They're eventually going to fail a protect. But I actually predict the Rillaboom to switch out. And instead of clicking Fake Out, I click Parting Shot. So the Annihilate protects, but since I Parting Shotted instead of Fake Out, I get to bring in my Politoed and turn this snow that they just set up into rain, which will allow my Archaludon to click Electroshot the following turn, even though its Power Herb has already been used. And after that turn of Grassy Terrain Recovery, my Archaludon actually has its Sturdy back intact. So, now that Rillaboom's in the back, I'm a little worried about the Annihilate switching into Rillaboom here. Because I could Electroshot into the Annihilate, but what if they switch into Rillaboom and then it resists the Electroshot? Yeah. So I actually decide to do a middle ground play where I Encore the Annihilate into Protect. But they do switch out. That does nothing. But I am able to get off an Electroshot into the Ninetales, which I know that my Archaludon will outspeed because Ninetales will definitely be faster and Trick Room is set up. So I hit the Electroshot and it one-shots, which means they were not Focus Sash. They were probably Light Clay, if I had to guess. And now there's one more turn of Trick Room. This is important because I know that they have Protect. So I'm thinking you're probably going to protect the Annihilate here. They also have Fake Out on Rillaboom. So they could just, instead of protecting Annihilate, they could just attack and then Fake Out my Archaludon. Because my Politoed with Weather Ball can't one-shot this Annihilate. But then I realize they have 2 Pokemon left. And I have a Politoed. So I decide to bust out the Perish Song. This covers for, I'm pretty sure, every single play they can make. Because they could have Wood-Hammered the Politoed, would have knocked it out. But they would not have been able to knock out my Archaludon, and I would have been able to Electroshot their Annihilate. And then Incineroar and Archaludon always beat Rillaboom. Now, if they make the play that they just made, Fake Out Archaludon, then Rage Fist from the Annihilate can't knock out my Politoed, and I get the Perish Song off. So now at this point, since I have 1 Pokemon in the back, and I have Protect on every single one of my Pokemon, the game's over. I can double Protect this turn, and then the next turn I can switch one of them out. And then on the last turn, I can just click protect on the last Pokemon, and the game's over. So this is just a normal Perish endgame, guaranteed win. There's no way for them to win this game at this point. And that's exactly what happens. I double protect, then I switch into Incineroar on Politoed. I actually end up getting the Electro Shot off into Annihilate there, but it doesn't matter. Rillaboom has one more turn of Perish. I can just protect. And Rillaboom's Perish count falls to 0. And that's the game. Okay, I win another. So at this point, I started off 2-3, and then right there, I just won 4 games in a row. Currently at 6-3, with a rating of 1562. I take a little break, and I come back, and now I'm playing against Hyper Offense. Pretty sure I win this game. I lost this game. Forgot about that. I think this was a game where I could have guaranteed a win. I don't know. Maybe that was a different one. So my rating drops. And now I play against another Dondozo team. Pretty sure I win this. Yes, I do. But yeah, I messed up in this one. Because I have their Dondozo trapped here at the beginning of the game. And I should have just hard focused Dondozo here. But I instead I focused the Dragonite. And see, I switch in to Politoed because I want to be able to Electroshot because I already used my Power Herb. And instead of going after the Dondozo, which I thought would protect this turn, it actually didn't. I go after the Dragonite, knock it out, which is great. But now they get in Tatsugiri, they get their Dondozo set up, and this game ends up being like a lot closer than it should have been. Because I should have just been able to knock out their Dondozo since it was trapped on the field. But now, so I switch into Incineroar. I find out that they're Clear Amulet. And I click Protect when the Dondozo doesn't even attack into Politoed. So at this point, I'm like, oh, I think I just threw this game. I think I just had like a guaranteed win if I just targeted down the Dondozo. Now it's set up against me. But I do see a path forward. I can bring in Gothitelle here. I can fake out the Dondozo and Perish Song. So weird with no music playing. Oh, I just realized that game audio was never playing. I never had the game audio on. I forgot about that. That's fine. Okay, so Dondozo just got perished on, but so did my Gothitelle and Politoed. But their last Pokemon is Tatsugiri. So I know that I need to survive these turns, but I also need to make sure I'm in a position where Tatsugiri can't just win the game against the rest of my team. And I also need to make sure this Dondozo, because it will be able to get like one turn where it can do damage here. I need to make sure that it doesn't do too much damage. So it uses Earthquake here. Now it can one-shot my Gothitelle with Wave Crash. It cannot one-shot it with any other attack. But my like only way of doing damage to this Tatsugiri is with Gothitelle and Archaludon. Politoed can do like no damage. It quad resists water type weather ball, and then out of the weather, it's a 50 base power normal type attack. It's gonna do like no damage. So I'm thinking I still have my Citrus Berry on Gothitelle. I'll also there's also a good chance that my Archaludon gets outsped by the Tatsugiri. So I decide it's more important for me to preserve my Gothitelle's HP here. So I switch out Gothitelle into Archaludon, and then I just click Encore to try to Encore the Dondozo into, like, if I don't know if it like wave crashes the Archaludon shot, Archaludon slot, but they actually target the Politoed, and this is best case scenario for me, because now I get to fake out the Dondozo this turn to guarantee that my Archaludon doesn't take damage, and I don't have to use Protect, so I can still have both of my Protects online against the Tatsugiri if I need them. But I know that they're gonna Protect this turn, or no, whether they Protect or not this turn. So this is a kind of a genius play by me. I've already used my Power Herb and there's no rain, and I'm at neutral special attack. And Dondozo is gonna faint this turn to perish. I don't need to KO it with Electroshot or with any attack here, and I can't KO it with any attack. So I Electroshot without Power Herb or Rain, and so I use this free turn to charge, and now the Tatsugiri comes out as the last Pokemon, and I've already got my Electroshot charging. So now I can just Psychic and Electroshot, so they can probably one-shot my Archaludon here with Draco Meteor. But I see that they Protect. I thought that they'd be a Choice Scarf. Turns out they're probably Focus Sash. So they Protect. The Electroshot play doesn't really matter, but it does give me +1 special attack, which also doesn't matter because Dragon Pulse would bring it down to Sash anyway. So I Dragon Pulse, they've already used Terra, and then I Psychic. I am actually faster than the Tatsugiri with my Archaludon, so it's not max speed. And now the game is pretty much locked. They could actually win from this point with Muddy Water getting accuracy drops, and then I just get insanely unlucky, but they miss the Gothitelle, and that seals the game. Okay. So in this game, this is one of the rare games where I don't bring Archaludon. I decided to bring Ursaluna. Just looking at the matchup, it helps with Incineroar, Volcarona, Archaludon, and it helps with Annihilate. It's immune to Rage Fist. I'm worried about Beat Up. That's a big thing. I'm worried about Beat Up Whimsicott into Annihilate. So Ursaluna gives me that immunity to Rage Fist. That's super important. So I decided to bring it. I lead Politoed Amoonguss, thinking, oh, maybe I can get a Perish Song turn 1 and then get them to eject button into my Gothitelle and get a easy Perish trap at the beginning. But they lead the Whimsicott Annihilate, which I was worried about because of the beat up. So right here I'm thinking, well, Politoed is like my most important Pokemon on my team. I don't have Archaludon, so getting some Perish Trap kill, getting at least 2 Perish Trap KOs is important for winning this game. So I need to keep Politoed alive. I cannot let it get beat up Rage Fisted this turn. So I actually switch into Ursaluna immediately and then try to Sludge Bomb the Whimsicott, which I actually really like this play because there's no possible way for them to knock out my Ursaluna this turn unless they're like max attack, focus sash, annihilate, and close combat into the Politoed slot and then Moonblast into it. Because not even close combat would one-shot, I'm pretty sure. But they actually Sunny Day. So switching out my Politoed is an even better play. And then they taunt. So that turn just went amazing for me. I get the Sludge Bomb into the Whimsicott. Turns out they're Focus Sash, so they live, which actually is better for me. I'm pretty sure it's actually better for me that the Whimsicott lives here, because if they got a free switch in to... I forgot what they have in the back. But there's probably some stuff that like would have been bad for me. But now I have my Ursaluna set up, and I can just threaten the Annihilate, and then while also threatening to KO the Whimsicott. And then, as I was worried about, we see the beat up come into play. So this gives him, my opponent, +4 stacks of Rage Fist, meaning this Rage Fist is 250 base power, and they use it into the Ursaluna. Now see, my opponent was expecting me to Terra Ghost my Ursaluna because I'm sitting in front of a fighting type. Now that logic makes sense, but there's another layer to that logic. And that's that I know that an Annihilate that doesn't have any attack boosts cannot one-shot my Ursaluna, like ever, at full health, even with close combat. So I wasn't threatened by that fighting type Annihilate. So I just attack it, and they waste their Rage Fist attack and get double knocked out. Now at this point, I'm thinking this game's over, because I'm up 4-2. They've done no damage to me. The only damage that I've taken is from burn. And I have Perish Trap in the back. One Perish Song and the game's over. And so knowing that information, I'm thinking, how do I get Politoed in here? And so instead of switching directly into Politoed, I decide, let me just try to Spore with Amoonguss, and if Amoonguss gets hit by an attack, I get a free switch in to Politoed because of the eject button, and I'll have Gothitelle in to threaten Fake Out on the Incineroar, which could have Taunt, or the Dragonite if it shows that it's not Choice Band. And with a Terra Flying, that shows that it's probably not Choice Band. Because if you're Choice Band, you're probably Terra Normal. And we see the Terra Blast actually into Amoonguss, which picks up the one-hit KO. So it actually would have been better for me to Terra Fairy there. but they just parting shot into my Gothitelle. So now I can bring in Politoed. I threatened Fake Out into both of them, but I also don't know if this is multi-scale or an inner focus. Dragonite. So, and that's like the one way I lose this game, is if it is inner focus, choice band, I Fake Out into the Dragonite, they ignore it, and then they double up into my Politoed, I just lose the game. Now, maybe I still should have clicked Fake Out into the Dragonite because my Politoed should outspeed their Incineroar, but they've already used Terra. They're not, I don't think they're Covert Cloak Incineroar, so I decided to just Fake Out the Incineroar. Don't have to worry about max speed taunt shenanigans, and then click Perish Song. Now they Terra Blast, Politoed, that's Choice Band. That's 100% Choice Band. I almost threw this game. If that crit me, I would have lost this game, even though I picked up 2 KOs without them doing any damage to me. And then they are Covert Cloak. So they ignore my Fake Out. This almost went horribly for me, but I didn't lose. The game wasn't lost because now I have one Pokemon in the back. I can just double click Protect, switch one of them out, you know, the usual Perish Trap finisher. Double Protect, switch one of them out, and then click Protect to end the game. That's exactly what I do. Double Protect. Protect again. Gothitelle fails, Politoed succeeds. And that's the game. Dragonite and Incineroar get knocked out by Perish Song, so they forfeit. And after that, I'm now sitting at 1610, 226. Actually a higher placement than what I ended up in, but a lower rating. Because this was Friday. I think. It might have been Saturday, actually. Yeah. I don't know. I think I had to start on Saturday. So I'm feeling really good. My record is 10-4. Pretty good, but I was 2-3. So in my last 9 games, I'm 8-1. So like I'm ignoring those first games and I'm thinking I just went 8-1. Like if I can go 8-1 at an in-person regional, like, you know, I'm making day 2. I'm feeling pretty good about my win streak, my record in these last few games. So now I fight like one of the most standard regulation H teams you could ever face. Got a ton of threats for this team. Dragonite, Choice. I don't think this one's Choice Band. I'm like 90% sure it's a loaded dice, Tailwind, Skill Shot. But it's still threatening. I have no resist except for Terra Fairy, Mungus. Incineroar has Pivot to get around Shadow Tag and Fake Out. Goldango obviously ignores Perish Trap and Shadow Tag. Sneasler outspeeds my Archaludon and, you know, close combats it. It also has Dire Claw shenanigans, which can just ruin everything. Ursaluna is immune to Electroshot. And is just a huge, massive threat. Can one-shot like my entire team with like Terra, Normal, Blood Moon. And then Rillaboom also usually has U-turn, Pivot, and ignore Shadow Tag, and then also gets Fake Out. And Priority Grassy Glide. And can one-shot Politoed with Wood Hammer. So, yeah. Teams like these, it feels like such a hard matchup. It's so important to get rid of the Goldango to allow myself to be able to Perish Trap. So I end up bringing the usual 4 that I brought to most games. Some combination of Archaludon, Gothitelle, Incineroar, and Politoed. These 4 work so well together. And they lead with Gholdengo Dragonite. Since I'm so happy that, like, when I see a Gholdengo on the other team, I'm like always leading Archaludon, and I'm so happy every time I see that they also led with Gholdengo. And it makes sense that they would lead with Gholdengo because they don't want to get Perish Trapped. Gholdengo is immune to Shadow Tag. So, I know that this is, or I'm like 90% sure that it's a Tailwind Scale Shot Dragonite. And those also, like 90% of the time, run multi-scale. So I decided to fake out the Dragonite and then launch a Terra Electric Electroshot into the Gholdengo and try to pick up this insanely important one-shot knockout. The Power Herb activates, allows me to Electroshot on turn 1, and it doesn't knock out. I ran into this problem, and it's an Inner Focus Dragonite. So now, I was feeling really good about this turn 1. I'm like, I'm going to fake out the Dragonite, I'm going to one-shot the Gholdengo, they're not going to do any damage to me, it's going to be awesome. Now everything just fell apart. Because their Dragonite just scale-shotted, so now it's faster than my Archaludon. And then now my Gothitelle got knocked out. But actually, them knocking out my Gothitelle is actually fine for me because they also knock out their Gholdengo. So I know that they're Inner Focus Dragonite. Otherwise, I would have brought in Incineroar here. And I've also used my Power Herb, so I want to get the rain set up. That way I can click Electroshot. But I'm thinking about what they have in the back. They have Rillaboom, which would be really bad for Politoed. They have Ursaluna, which would be good for Politoed, except for the fact that their Dragonite could Tailwind, and then I'd be in a bad situation. And then they have Sneasler, and one other that I forgot. But they bring in Rillaboom. So Incineroar would have been good against Rillaboom, but I'm glad that I now have the rain set up. And then, so now I can switch into Incineroar to avoid a Wood Hammer, or I could protect. There's a lot of stuff I can do here, but they also have Fake Out Pressure. And I know that a Fake Out and a Scale Shot won't knock out my Archaludon, but at the same time, my Politoed wouldn't be able to do much to them. I mean, I could Perish Song, but I don't have Shadow Tag, and they have one more Pokemon in the back that they can switch to. So I just make the safe play, I scout what they want to go for, and I double protect. Very good option when you just aren't sure what the best play is, and to get rid of Fake Out Pressure. Now it's a risky play when the opponent has a setup option like Gholdengo with Nasty Plot, but their only setup they could have done there was Tailwind. So now that they've used Fake Out, I know that they can't knock out my Archaludon without letting me get a hit off, because Grassy Glide and Scale Shot should not knock out my Archaludon. Now, I didn't calc it. Maybe it does. You know, especially if they're Miracle Seed Rillaboom. But I'm pretty sure, because my high defense stat, that I would live that. Because I think Scale Shot does like 60 to 70% of my health. And I think Grassy Glide does like 30%. But also, since I switch in Incineroar, I get the attack drop on the Rillaboom. So now I know that Grassy Glide definitely won't. But they actually Tailwind and then Wood Hammer into my Politoed. So this turn goes great for me. They get the Tailwind off, which didn't really matter because their Dragonite already outsped my Archaludon. I get another special attack boost, so I'm now at +2. And I get to knock out their biggest threat into my team, the Dragonite. And now at this point, I have fake out pressure this turn, so I'm thinking now this game should be over. But they also do still have Terra, I'm pretty sure. We see Grassy Seed, Sneasler, so it already would have outsped everything. Also, they have Tailwind, so it's way too fast. But most importantly, Grassy Seed Sneaslers do not carry Fake Out. They like never carry Fake Out. And it's not Focus Sash. So an Electro Shot will just knock out. I could have faked out here, but since their last two are both physical attackers, I wanted to get Incineroar switched out. That way I can switch Incineroar back in a following turn and lower both of their attacks. Now, No. Okay. The reason why I didn't fake out, the reason why I parting shot instead of fake out, the Rillaboom, is because they have Tailwind up. So they actually, if they protect and then they get faked out that turn, the following turn, they can close combat and Wood Hammer into my Archaludon and knock me out. But now I have that Incineroar threat to lower their attack. And I need to stall out these turns of Tailwind, because once Tailwind is gone, and once Grassy Terrain is gone, only the Sneasler outspeeds my Archaludon. So, I make a pretty risky play here, because, so the Rillaboom's now at -2, and the Sneaser's at -1, but I think a Wood Hammer and a Close Combat would still knock out my Archaludon. But they actually Close Combat the Politoed slot, which actually knocks me out, even though they're at -1. I'm pretty sure the damage calc, so that never one-shots, but it does do like 75% or more, so it makes sense that it knocked me out there. And then Wood Hammer only does like 50 damage. I actually think I could have lived a Close Combat. And what I don't know. I'm not sure actually, but because they made that play, even though they got that knockout onto my Incineroar, I knock out their Sneasler, and now it's Archaludon and Politoed versus Rillaboom. But they have one more turn of Tailwind and Grassy Terrain. So I can just double protect this turn, and then my Archaludon will outspeed, and I can get a +3 special attack, I think, Dragon Pulse into the Rillaboom. Oh yeah, also their Rillaboom is -3 attack because I parting shotted into it. That's right, not -2. So I double protect, Rain stops, get more Grassy Terrain recovery, Tailwind stops, Grassy Terrain stops, so they don't have priority Grassy Glide. I'm at +4 special attack, and now I can just Dragon Pulse and Weather Ball. And they actually live, which tells me they were definitely Assault Vest, but I avoid the high horsepower. Not that it would have mattered because... Okay, I guess I Encored instead of Weather Ball, but whatever. They forfeit the following turn. And so now I'm at 162. I'm feeling amazing. I'm at 1624 rating. Like, what could go wrong? I'll show you what can go wrong. Where is it? here. This can go wrong. In the next like 20 something games, at one point I get tilted, I go on like a 5-game losing streak, and I drop in rating. I'm below 1600, and there's only I only have 6 battles left. So I'm back to thinking, oh, hopefully I can at least finish top 500. You know, that was my initial goal. Maybe I just get to top 500 and then stop. But I want to lock in. Like, I want to win these next games, because if I can win from here on out, I can actually finish a respectable placement. And so I need to lock in. And now I have to play against Trick Room, hard Trick Room. I played a good amount of Trick Room matchups in this tournament. So against Trick Room teams, obviously Ursaluna is like tempting, but Torkoal outspeeds Ursaluna in Trick Room, and Hatterene, I think. Yeah, Hatterene also outspeeds. So against this hard Trick Room team, it's hard to bring Ursaluna. Amoonguss, same situation. Gets outsped by Torkoal. Even with Terra Fairy, I think like Eruption, Choice Specs Terra Fire Eruption is just gonna one-shot me. And then I can't Spore the Hatterene. So Amoonguss and Ursaluna don't feel very strong. Politoed is super important. The rain gets rid of, you know, the Torkoal's sun. Archaludon is super important for picking up KOs when Trick Room is not set up. And then Incineroar is insanely important for being immune to Spore from that Lilligant. And also for Intimidate drops on the Ursaluna, and Terra Ghost to potentially survive a Facade and survive the Gallade. Which Gallade actually ended up being the hardest counter to my team somehow. Gallade was by far like the hardest Pokemon to deal with. I had like multiple games where Gallade would just like sweep my entire team, because they're usually like max speed, even though they have, and then Clear Amulet, so Incineroar can't lower their attack. They outspeed my Archaludon sometimes, I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe my Archaludon normally outspeeds, but they don't get one shot by Electroshot, Terra Electric Electroshot. They don't get one shot because they have such high special defense. They can one shot Politoed with Psychic Terrain, Psycho Cut, Sacred Sword, one shots Incineroar. If I Terra Ghost, Psychic Terrain, Psycho Cut, one shots Incineroar. Sacred Sword, one shots Ursaluna. If I Terra Ghost, I think I can survive a Psycho Cut because of Ursaluna's high base HP and defense. And then Amoonguss obviously gets destroyed by Psycho Cut. If I Terra Fairy, I don't think I get one shot, but a Psychic Terrain, Psycho Cut does like almost all my health. So Gallade, super threatening. So when in my lead, I have to consider, like, if I have to make sure that if they lead with Gallade and Didi, that I don't just lose on the spot. So I'm cautious about leading Incineroar, because Incineroar, it baits the Sacred Sword. But then after I Terra Ghost, then I'm just vulnerable to a Psycho Cut. I found that Gothitelle is actually my best answer to one of my best answers to Gallade, because it resists Sacred Sword and Psycho Cut. And then if they have the Psychic Terrain set up, my Psychic does like 33%. But if they don't have the Psychic Terrain up, my Psychic only does like 25% of the Glade's health because of how good its special defense set is. So it's not even a reliable counter to Glade. But fortunately, they do not lead Glade. They lead the Psychic Seed and Didi and the Hatterene. So against this lead, I mean, I have a couple options. I could Trick Room my Gothitelle. That way, if they Trick Room, it gets reversed, and then nobody has Trick Room. I can Psychic with Gothitelle. But if they follow me in DD, redirects the Psychic, and then my Archaludon's attack. And they have a Psychic Seed, so it'll take like no damage. But I think I just end up clicking Psychic. I should have Trick Roomed. I think. They actually end up Terra-firing the Hatterene. Oh no, sorry, Terra-Psychic. That's right. And then I see no follow me. And I'm like, oh. They didn't click Trick Room.
Adama2's Gaming just raided with 22 views.
Adam A2Z Gaming, thank you for the raid. I really appreciate that. Yo, thank you for the follow, Defiant VGC. I appreciate that. I'm currently going over my matches for my November Grand Challenge, where I got I placed 232nd globally, and I think like 74th NA, and it was my first full global challenge. So I was like super happy with my results. And I'm looking forward to start competing in probably some in-person tournaments. And I'm gonna be competing in the GC next weekend for Reg F. I still need to make my team though, but I'm working on it. But I really appreciate the raid. It's awesome. I'm just gonna be going over like my thought processes for these turns and how I ended up winning some of these games. I'm doing the GC next week too. I was doing some viewer battles and just seeing how the team works. Yeah. Ooh, wait. Good idea. Get some practice. I use this team for the December challenge. December VR challenge. I'm not familiar with that. What's the December VR challenge? Victory Road. Okay, yeah. Oh, you know, that's something I need to do too. I need to enter more of those like limitless online tournaments and stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to entering more online tournaments. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of best of one. I did a lot of best of one for this grand challenge, and then I've been doing a lot of showdown best of one for the upcoming GC. But obviously, I want to start doing best of three, get some good practice for actual in-person best of three tournaments. But the team I'm going to be using for the GC is made for best of one. It's got a little bit of cheese in there. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up my team, but I'm gonna crop it so you can't see the EVs. Actually, is that a good idea? What if I face you? what if we play in the GC? Then you know my moves and items. No, I do not. I can hold on. I can just quickly make that though. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Always glad to find and support other VGC players. I really appreciate that. I can't wait for champions to come out. I feel like there's gonna be like such a large increase of VGC competitors once champions come out. Showdown lets you make an open team sheet of your team with no EVs. The button is under the regular Pokebase button. Wait, really? Upload a Pokebase. All right, well, I just let me see. Oh, there it is. Open team sheet. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, let me crop this real quick. Okay, here we go. All right, this is what I'm cooking with. Can I zoom in? Yeah. Okay. So, no screens, Grimmsnarl with fake tears, and then Terra Electric, booster energy, special attack, max special attack, thunderclap. So, this, I can't wait to hit people with this in the GC. I hope I don't play any of y'all. I'm giving away my secret tech. I've been destroying the showdown ladder with mostly with this hidden tech. They never expect fake out. They never expect fake tears thunderclap, which just one shots anything that doesn't resist. And I was able to get to number 6 on the showdown ladder. I haven't played in a while though, so I'm not number 6 anymore, but I don't know, I'm at like 1760 something ELO. Grimmsnarl, yes, Grimmsnarl, I'm not gonna say the EVs, but yeah, Grimmsnarl's faster than Raging Bolt for that fake tears thunderclap. And it's hilarious. I'm tired of screens Grimmsnarl. I think this thing has more potential than that. And then of course just standard Landorus, Urshifu, and then Pelipper to help with Landorus and Urshifu, and help with Sun matchup, safety goggles because of Moongus is like was really good against the rest of the team, and then Rillaboom for Indeedee because that's one way to stop all my priority spam, you know. And then knockoff instead of U-turn. I'm still kind of undecided on if I should change this, but I wanted another dark type attack that isn't Sucker Punch, mainly for Throat Spray for Farigiraf. And I tried U-turn. I didn't have a lot of situations where it was that helpful. And then high horsepower is also another. Do you allow links in chat? I'll show you my team. Yeah. Yeah, you can put a link in the chat. I hope there's no like auto mod that like. There shouldn't be any auto mod. Thank you for the follow, John C86. Appreciate that. All right, let's see what we got here. Rain Dance and Sunny Day on Tornadus. Haze Chanpao. Okay, we got some sauce. Scarf, Ice Spinner. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. To no Aqua Jet because you've got Psychic Terrain. Imprison, Trick Room, and then Snarl, Arcanine Hisubi. I like that. I like the Snarl. And then okay, an Iron Crown team. I've tried some an Iron Crown team before on Showdown, and it feels pretty strong. Can I ask what the sunny day's for? Is it just like, is it just for Flare Blitz? Oh, Terra Ground, Terra Blast. God, we got another team to look through. Alright, we got a leftover Raging Bolt with no Calm Mind. Interesting. Booster Flutter with Icy Wind. Probably Speed. If you're using Icy Wind, it's probably Speed Booster. Standard Mystic Water. Standard Sesh. And oh, Sunny Day instead of Rain Dance. Interesting. Yeah, these teams obviously are better in best of 3 than my team. My team's it's made for best of 1 pretty much. I still think it could be decent in best of 3, but the lack of the element of surprise really weakens the whole Grim Snarl mode. Terra Ground, Iron Ground boomed me. I was expecting Terra Water. I've tried Terra Fighting before as well, because it also hits Incineroar. But I found that being not weak to either one of Fluttermane's stabs was very important when I tried using Iron Crown. Thank you for the follow. Hold on, I need to bring up my OBS because it's too small. Oh, there we go. Max Rifted 4, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Oh shoot. Thank you. I've just reached 25 followers. I actually set this goal. I didn't even know that Twitch had these like goal things. I literally set that goal like a few hours ago. And I was like, oh yeah, that'll probably take like a few days of streaming, but thank you for the raid. I really appreciate all the follows. Let me read chat here. I mainly have the weather to counter other weather depending teams. Yeah, that makes sense. But it works out well to do bug damage or mitigate damage to a mon by just switching weather. Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Like if they're using the rain too. Yo, congrats on the follower goal. Thank you. I'm gonna go watch TV, but this seems interesting, so I want to come back to this and or see the updates. Yeah. I'll get back to going over reviewing my matches, specifically the wins. I'm not really reviewing the losses at the moment. See ya, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I hope you can catch a future stream. I'll definitely be doing some more VGC stuff. I got some stuff planned. Like the next GC, although I don't think I'll be streaming it because I usually play worse when I stream. If I was using like if I was using like a gimmick team, I would probably stream it. But since I'm actually trying to like do really good, I'm probably not going to stream it and do the same thing I'm doing with the last GC, which is what I'm doing now, which is going over I forgot that I cropped it. Hold on. Okay. Beat Adam by using Sunny Day to not have him KO my Terra Ground Crown with Surging Strikes. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and then Rain Dance to get rid of a Fluttermane's photosynthesis. That's cool. I've used a double weather team before, like like a hard double weather where like it actually had a like a sun mode and a sand mode. It was like a sun and sand team before, and I like using double weather, but it's not good in too many situations for it to be that consistent. Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna get back to going over this match. So I was considering trick rooming to counter their trick room, but I decided not to go for it because of the chance that they don't click trick room, and I'm glad that I did that because they actually Terra Psychic Expanding Force. Oh wait, did they click trick room? Okay, they did end up clicking trick room. So actually it would have been better for me to click trick room. But I do get some damage into the Hatterene because I flash cannoned into it. Now, if I Terra Electro Shot, it would have one-shot the Hatterene, but that would have given them a free switch in as well. And it would have wasted my Terra, which I might need later. So now at this point, it's looking like a pretty bad situation because they just got Trick Room up. They can just freely click Helping Hand. But I do have a way to counter Psychic Spam. And this was one of the major reasons why I changed the Gothitelle from Terra Water initially I was testing with to Terra Dark. Well, one, it was for Annihilate Rage Fist, and then two, it helps a lot with to have two dark types for this exact situation. Because now I can Terra Dark the Gothitelle and bring in Incineroar. Now, of course, they could have clicked Dazzling Gleam, which then just would have sucked. But they're Terra Psychic and they just clicked Helping Hand, Expanding Force, so I expect them to do that again, you know? If they were Terra Fire, maybe they'd be clicking Dazzling Gleam, but since they're Terra Psychic, you know, they're a little greedy. They want that extra damage boost from the Terra Psychic. So they end up clicking Helping Hand, Expanding Force, and I'm able to end the Trick Room. Oh wait, no. Why didn't I end the Trick Room? Oh right, because now they're in a situation where they're against two ghost types. So, okay, if I did end the Trick Room on that turn, this turn they would be able to follow me and Didi and then click Trick Room. And then now they just have a fresh new Trick Room. But since I didn't end the Trick Room that turn, I'm actually in a better situation now. Now, obviously here I'm worried about Dazzling Gleam, but I actually underspeed the Hatterene. So I'm min speed in the Incineroar, but I should never be outspeeding a Hatterene in Trick Room. So I guess I guess they're not min speed, and then they click Trick Room because they expected me to click Trick Room to reverse their Trick Room. So now I'm feeling great. Oh wait, I see what happened. I actually didn't realize this when I was playing this GC live. I was like, wow, I can't believe my Incineroar outsped them. They clicked double Trick Room. That's what happened. They tried to end their Trick Room and then set up a new one. But since I knocked out one of them and not the other, they just ended their own Trick Room. But now they have Gallade in Psychic Terrain, and I don't have Terra available. So I was talking about this earlier. Gallade is like super threatening against my team. Like I was getting like one shot. Gallades were like one-shotting my entire team like consistently whenever I was fighting these Gallade and DD teams. So like I didn't really have any good way of dealing with Gallade. Gothitelle is the only thing I had that could resist both of its stabs without Terra, but I Terra Dark my Gothitelle, so now both of them are just threatened by Sacred Sword. But I feel like my Incineroar is more important to keep alive. And then they Psycho Cut Incineroar. I don't know what. I guess they predicted the switch. That must have been what they were doing. They were predicting my Incineroar to switch out. And they Psycho Cut into it. So I mean, I didn't have to protect, but now the Psychic Terrain is gone. So now at least Psycho Cut won't do as much damage as it did before. And then I wanted to Psychic the Gallade that turn, but the Indeedee redirected it. Okay. So even though I got through that first Trick Room, this game's still nowhere close to over. Because they can get another Trick Room up, and they still have one mystery Pokemon in the back, which I'm thinking is probably Torkoal. But I want to protect my Incineroar, because Incineroar will definitely be helpful for whatever they have in the back. So I switch in Politoed. They actually Sacred Sword that turn, and my Politoed survives. But unfortunately, my Psychic on my Gothitelle is doing no damage. It's just... This is a Psychic Seed boosted Indeedee, and now I don't have Psychic Terrain to get the damage boost on the Psychic, so I'm just doing no damage to this Indeedee. And so I'm kind of thinking, like, how do I win this game? How do I put myself in a situation where I can win here? And it's just, you can just see like how threatening Gallade is. Like, my only hope is to get Archaludon into a position where I can Electroshot the Gallade and just like one-shot it. So they knock out the Politoed this turn, but they don't follow me. So I do get a Psychic into the Gallade. It does about 25%, and then they Trick Room. So I expect my Archaludon outspeeds their Gallade. So if I just bring in Archaludon, they just knock it out. They're Clear Amulet, but there's no Psychic Terrain. So I can fake out the Gallade this turn and try to Psychic it. But they can just follow me, and so I just get I actually do crit here, right? No, that wasn't a crit? Why did that do, like... It did so much less damage before. I don't know. It's weird. There's 3 turns of Trick Room left. So I'm thinking... I need to make sure that Archaludon gets onto the field when either Trick Room is up or there's 1 turn of Trick Room left, so that I can click Protect and then have Archaludon outside of Trick Room. So I expect that they can definitely KO one of my Pokemon. I don't want that to happen, because then Archaludon gets sent out with 2 turns of Trick Room left. So I need to double Protect this turn. Now there's 2 turns of Trick Room left. So at least Archaludon will be sent out. And I know that my Incineroar is slower than their Gallade, because I'm min-speed Incineroar. So I'll be able to knock out their Indeedee here. If they follow me here. If they didn't follow me, then Psychic and Knockoff would have knocked out their Gallade. But they follow me. So... knocks out the Indeedee, and I get a Psychic into the Gallade. But now their Gallade can just knock out my Incineroar. And as you can see by that damage, 1 more Psychic will not KO the Gallade. I think I actually lose this game. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I do. I do lose this game. I forgot about this. So I did just show a loss when I meant to only show wins. So, yeah. At this point, this isn't my rating. This was my rating before the game. It hasn't updated yet. I have 5 battles left, not 6. And I'm now at like 1580 something probably. And I'm just feeling bad because I was at like 1630 before. I was almost at top 100. I was like number 112, I think. So I'm feeling pretty bad that I went on this like losing streak. But you can't get tilted in VGC, you know? So I locked in. And I think I win all 5 of my next games. Now, it takes a long time to go through these games. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like skim through first 4 and then I'll go over the final one. So, very standard Reg H team. I lead Archaludon Gothitelle, which I have been leading a lot. I'm worried about Fake Out from their Sneasler, but I want to Electroshot the Goldango. So instead of trying to fake out the Sneasler, which would just be wasted if they faked out like my Archaludon, all I would get was a tiny bit of fake out chip. Instead, I click Psychic into the Sneasler and then Electroshot the Goldango. And they actually protect the Sneasler, so I'm assuming they don't have fake out. And they were worried about my Gothitelle's fake out. So they protect, and I get an Electroshot into the Goldango. And pick up one of those patented Archaludon one-shots on Goldango. So crucial. So insanely crucial for this team to work at all in Reg H. But now they bring in Ursaluna, which is a big threat, both my Pokemon. I protect Gothitelle. They actually double up into my Gothitelle. Oh, actually, I think I double protected that turn. Yeah, I did double protect that turn. So now they double up into my Archaludon. But I'm able to get some damage into their Ursaluna. And based on this damage, I'm +1. So I'm like, okay, that's Assault Vest. That's 1,000,000% Assault Vest. Also, there's no Life Orb. Yep. So knowing that that's Assault Vest, knowing that they're trapped with Gothitelle, I'm guaranteed to get a Fake Out flinch on their Ursaluna this turn. And I do. And then I Trick Room. Now, the surface level play is to Psychic the Sneasler here. But you gotta think, I know that their Sneasler has Protect. So I was thinking, if I were to do that, just click Psychic into the Sneasler, and they Protect, and this exact scenario that plays out, if I don't Trick Room here, if I Psychic into that Protect, then what? This following turn, they Close Combat Incineroar, and they Hyper Voice. They guarantee KO into my Incineroar. Or they Blood Moon, they double up, they Dire Claw, Blood Moon, the Gothitelle. I don't know. Something like that. I'm in a bad situation. But now, I know that my Gothitelle is slower than their Ursaluna, based on the previous turn. I know that they have a speedy Ursaluna, and my Incineroar is slower than my Gothitelle. So I set up Trick Room. This is why Trick Room is so important on Gothitelle. Because now I can freely Flare Blitz, Knock Off into the Ursaluna to threaten the KO, and then Psychic into the Sneasler to threaten the KO or bring it to Sash. They are focused Sash. Oh, sorry. I doubled up into the Sneasler because it just protected. That's what I did. And then my Incineroar gets hit by an Earth Power, but it lives because I know it's Assault Vest. If it was Life Orb, like max special attack, I'm pretty sure that just one-shots. I'm not Assault Vest Incineroar. That would just one-shot. But I know they're Assault Vest, so I know that that doesn't one-shot. And now it's just Ursaluna and Amoonguss versus my Incineroar and Gothitelle. But the Amoonguss is now in Trick Room. The Amoonguss can Spore my Gothitelle. It can't Spore my Incineroar, though. I have safety goggles. So I also ignore the Rage Powder, and now I can just knock off the Ursaluna, which can't protect itself, and guarantee a win. Except... oh, I forgot about this. They Pollen Puff! Oh, I completely forgot about this. They Pollen Puff the Ursaluna. And now it's back to half health. I knock off and Psychic, and even without the Assault Vest, that still does barely anything. And then they Blood Moon, which is good because that means they can't Blood Moon this following turn. But Trick Room is still up, and now they can just Spore. And I'm like, oh crap. I was feeling really good about this game. Now not so much. There's 2 turns of Trick Room left. But then I realized they can't Spore both of my Pokemon. But my Politoed should outspeed their Ursaluna, which means in Trick Room, the Ursaluna is faster than my Politoed. But they also just used Blood Moon, which means they also can't knock out either of my Pokemon. So they Pollen Puff instead of Spore. If they Spored my Politoed, I'm in a bad situation here. I'm in a really bad situation here. But they Pollen Puff because they're so much more concerned with keeping their Ursaluna alive, because they're thinking if my Ursaluna goes down, I lose this game. Because Amoonguss like can't do any damage to me. So I Encore the Amoonguss into Pollen Puff. I actually don't know why I did that. Oh, right. I was worried about the Amoonguss using Rage Powder to protect the Ursaluna from my Weather Ball. So I was thinking, okay, if they're going to Rage Powder, let me Encore them into Rage Powder. That way they can't Spore me. But then, since they Pollen Puffed, it's actually better for me because now I'm safe. I can't be Spored this turn. And since they're Assault Vest, not Life Orb, based on that damage, I know that Blood Moon won't knock out my Politoed. So now I can just Weather Ball and Psychic the Ursaluna. Even though I know they're going to Pollen Puff this turn, get it back to full health, their Assault Vest was knocked off. If they still had Assault Vest, Psychic and Weather Ball do not knock out this Ursaluna. But because their Assault Vest is knocked off, this Weather Ball, they actually get a crit. This matters. This mattered. Because without that crit, Gothitelle survives. It has the Citrus Berry, and then I'm in a 2v1, and I'm great. But now that Gothitelle got knocked out, and all I have left is Politoed, I'm in a 1v1 against Amoonguss. And then I realize this game is going to be decided by sleep turns. I can't Perish Song because Amoonguss is slower than me, so I would lose if I Perish Songed. But since I have the speed advantage, I can Encore them into Pollen Puff to prevent them from being able to Spore my Politoed. So I look at the damage, it does 30 damage. And then Leftovers heals 12 health. And then at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. Because I can just Weather Ball until the Encore ends. I can Encore them into Pollen Puff, keep them locked into Pollen Puff. And then what I can do is I can attack, protect. Either attack, protect, attack, Encore. Or protect, attack, protect, Encore. You know, I can just get that leftovers recovery and have this game locked up. So eventually Politoed uses Weather Ball and knocks out Amoonguss. And I barely win that game. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I thought I would just do a quick analysis, but then it ended up being like a full one. Okay, let me do an actual quick one. Okay. I'm worried about Tailwind, Typhlosion. I bring my usual 4. They lead Typhlosion, Whimsicott. But I have Archaludon, which has Sturdy, and Incineroar, which resists the Eruption. So I can pretty freely protect Archaludon this turn. They set up the Sunny Day instead of Tailwind, which makes sense because I think they would have outsped both of my guys anyway if they're Choice Scarf. Actually, no. Choice Spec should still outspeed, I think. Yeah. So they're probably Choice Scarf if they Sunny Day instead of Tailwind. I knocked off their Choice Specs. Okay, never mind. Oh, wait, no. I forgot what I literally just said, which is that they don't even need Choice Scarf to outspeed Archaludon. So yeah, their Choice Specs. Sun boosted Terrafire Choice Specs full health Eruption. Just did only 120 damage to my Incineroar that doesn't even have an Assault Vest. That is crazy. Incineroar is so broken. So, I knock off their Choice Specs. They're at half health. Eruption isn't that threatening. Now I can switch in Politoed to set up the rain to further weaken their fire. But they could also Sunny Day again. But they actually end up switching into Rillaboom. And I waste my Electro Shot. I don't know why I protected Incineroar. Why did I protect Incineroar? Could have been like a free knockoff. They Moonblast into Incineroar. I switch Archaludon into Gothitelle. And they actually knock out my Incineroar. I was not expecting them to be able to knock out my Incineroar this turn. But now I have both of their grass types trapped because of Gothitelle. And I haven't used my Terra. So I can bring in Politoed. Yo, what is up? Cosmic Yeet. What is up? K-Dot. I'm going over my Grand Challenge, some of my Grand Challenge matches from November. Where I got 232nd, globally 74th NA. Okay. So, I bring in Politoed here. Do I click Perish Song here? Yes, okay. I bring in Politoed, and there's the Perish Trap. That's what we all been waiting for. And the reason for this is that I still have my Terra. So they obviously want to Woodhammer into my Politoed now. So I can bait that and Terra Grass. And then I think I Encore. What do I do? This was kind of a misplay by me. I actually should have Psychicked with Gothitelle, probably, but they actually attack into Gothitelle. So it actually ended up being a good thing that, what? subbed with Prime. Wait, I didn't even know I could get subs. What? Thank you. Thank you, K Dot, for the sub. What the heck? I thought I couldn't even get. Oh, didn't mean to bring that up. Oh, didn't mean to bring that up. Ah! I didn't even know that I could get subs. What the heck? All right, cool. Congrats on being my first ever sub. Thank you, thank you. Ooh. Oh, you know what else happened today? I reached 25 followers, which is the amount you need to be an affiliate. So now I can be affiliated on Twitch. So that's cool. Which I think that unlocks bits? Donating bits? I don't know. It unlocks something. But okay. So I encore the Rillaboom. So now Rillaboom is encored into knockoff. So I kind of wasted my Terra there because he didn't Woodhammer. I was expecting the Woodhammer, but I guess they were expecting a Terra as well. But I know that a knockoff and Moonblast shouldn't be able to KO my Gothitelle. So it probably would have been better for me if I didn't protect that turn, and then I can protect this turn, but it's fine. I go for the Trick Room, and I switch Archaludon in. Right, okay. So, I think from this point, I figured my best shot of winning this game was Perish Song here. Get these 2 Perish KOs, and then get another 2 Perish KOs. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. They have Sunny Day. I needed to make sure that my Archaludon was in this turn, and then my Gothitelle faints at the same time as them. That way my Politoed gets switched in once their Whimsicott's knocked out, so that they cannot set up the Sun. Because they still have a Typhlosion in the back. So as long as I can get Rain set up on that, it's not that threatening to my Archaludon. So this is why positioning is so important for Perish Trap teams, especially with Rain. When you have to consider the Rain, it's just a whole nother thing that you have to consider with positioning. So and I think since I think I set up Trick Room last turn, so now my Archaludon outspeeds their Typhlosion. At least it should. So now I get in Politoed. I have 2 full health Pokemon. They have a half health. What the heck? Thank you, Cool Guy 165 for the Prime. A hype train. What is going on? We got a hype train. What the heck? Sub, gift, or cheer to level up. The heck? I didn't even know I could have hype trains until I was affiliated, but okay. I appreciate the sub. You are now my 2nd ever sub. What was I saying? Okay, so I get Politoed in to set up the Rain. Their last is Sneasler. and then their Typhlosion. So now I'm really glad that I set up Trick Room, because Sneasler's fast, and now I have the Trick Room. Since they're choice specs, their Typhlosion cannot protect, so I can just attack into the Typhlosion with both Pokemon and guarantee a knockout on it this turn. Even if their Sneasler fakes out one of my Pokemon, I would still be getting that knockout. But we don't see a fake out, and I'm able to knock out the Typhlosion and then knock out the Sneasler with Electro Shot.
Narwhals can't perish.
Wait, you can cheer bitch too? I didn't even know subs or bits were like were able to, I don't know what I'm trying to say. We're activated. Thank you for the 1 bit. I think that's like equivalent to 1 cent. I appreciate that. Let's see. So, I have 4 games remaining to get to my goal of top 500. I basically need to win all 4, maybe 3. I think I can get away with winning 3, losing 1. So now I'm fighting a hyper offense, it looks like, Dondozo Tatsugiri team. So I make a huge mistake this game. Turn 1, amazing for me. I have their Dondozo trapped in Shadow Tech, so it can't switch out. And if I can just remove the Dondozo, I'm in a great position. But actually, the Annihilate, since the Annihilate is Ghost type, it's not trapped by Shadow Tag, and it can still switch out. So even though it looks like I have the Dondozo trapped, where like I can just knock it out without getting its without Tatsugiri coming in and getting its boost, they actually can switch Annihilate in. So I'm also worried about the Annihilate being Choice Scarf. Usually with these hyper offense teams, it makes sense for it to be Choice Scarf, but I should have considered they have a Tyranitar, so it's probably Safety Goggles actually. I protect Gothitelle, and they Final Gambit. It actually is Choice Scarf. So even though because of the sand, it would seem like it's probably Safety Goggles, they actually are Choice Scarf. And so with my Protect play, I don't get KO'd. My Gothitelle doesn't get KO'd. But now, let's see. I just protected Gothitelle. So now they can Final Gambit my Gothitelle again. And I already used my Power Herb, so I can't Electro Shot unless I switch in Politoed. But I'm thinking, is it worth it to let Politoed get KO'd from this Final Gambit? You know? Because Politoed is so important. It's my Perish Song user. But in the end, I decide that they want a Final Gambit. So if I do switch in my Politoed here, they Final Gambit my Politoed, knock it out. But then I get an Electro Shot into their Dondozo without the Tatsugiri boost. So they do Final Gambit. They exchange all of their HP for my Politoed's HP. So one-shot it. But then I'm able to get an Electro Shot into their Dondozo without any boosts, and it gets knocked out. So I think I was actually thinking of a different game that I played where I missed an opportunity to knock out their Dondozo without letting Tatsugiri get the boost. But yeah, so they only have 2 Pokemon left. I have 3, all full health, feeling pretty good. Gothitelle's kind of useless because Shadow Tag, they can't switch anyway with only 2 Pokemon, so I decided to bring in Incineroar, I'm pretty sure. But I don't have Perish Song. If I just had Perish Song, I just click that and win the game. But without that, I have to actually play the game. And they have Archaludon. And so, like, and they haven't used Terra. So it's actually not a free win. Because they could be... I know they're not Choice Scarf, Tatsugiri, at least. So they're probably Focus Sash. Which means they probably have Protect. And then they don't have Rain. So the Archaludon is probably Power Herb, which means the Archaludon also has Protect. So I don't know who to fake out. And I decided to fake out the Tatsugiri, who has Terra Stellar. And the Archaludon protects. So I hit the fake out. And they are not Covert Cloak. But I Dragon Pulsed into the wrong slot. So I kind of what's it called? Hedged my bets, right? If they protected, if I doubled up in a Tatsugiri and they protected Tatsugiri and they just get a free attack on Archaludon, if I doubled up into Archaludon, they protect and then Tatsugiri gets a free attack. So with this way, I either get damage onto the Archaludon or small damage onto the Tatsugiri and prevent the Tatsugiri from attacking. So now the following turn, I switch out Incineroar so I can get Fake Out on Gothitelle active, and then I protect my Archaludon. But they get an accuracy drop, and now I'm like, oh my god, this is the one way I lose this game, is these Muddy Water accuracy drops. Because now I can miss Fake Out. So, I double up in the Tatsugiri, and I miss Fake Out, and all my worst nightmares are coming true. And of course I save it because I'm like, there's no way. But I outspeed their Archaludon. I'm pretty sure it's a speed tie, because they are Power Herb Archaludon. And then I knock out their Tatsugiri, right? But they Electro Shot. Except they Electro Shot my Gothitelle. Now, if they Electro Shotted my Archaludon, I think I actually lose this game. Because their Archaludon is full health. Even with that amazing beginning to the game where I only lost one Pokemon and knocked out two of theirs, I would have lost this game if they had attacked my Archaludon. But they didn't. They attacked my Gothitelle. So now I have a full health Incineroar and a +2 special attack Archaludon. So I fake out. I have Fake Out here, but they have Protect. So they just Protect here. And now I'm like, okay. If they outspeed me, if it's a speed tie and they outspeed my Archaludon and knock me out, I lose the game still. I still lose the game after all that. Because Incineroar loses the 1v1 to Archaludon. So I still have to win a 50-50. I have to win a coin flip to win this game. If I don't win this speed tie, I lose the game. Now, it was never... I don't think it was ever confirmed if this was a speed tie. Maybe it was at some point and I wasn't paying attention. Because if it is a speed tie, then I've won every speed tie. And I just win again. I knock him to sturdy, but he can't one-shot my Incineroar. I think. Or wait. Or does he... Or wait, oh wait, does he knock out my Incineroar here? No, okay, good. And that's the game, I'm able to click knockoff and finish off the Archaludon. And with that, 2 games left. Sorry, not 4 before. There's 2 games left, but I've reached my goal. My goal was top 500. I'm now top 500. I could just stop playing, and I've gotten my goal, and I'm pretty sure I would have gotten championship points. But I'm like, 2 more games. I'm kind of on a roll. I just won like 3 in a row. Like, I'm gonna play the last 2 games. And so, first game, the Trick Room team. I bring the usual 4, my usual lead of Archaludon Gothitelle that I've been bringing to most games, a lot of games. They lead Farigiraf and Incineroar, which is pretty bad for me because they can fake me out. I can't fake them out. So I want to preserve my Archaludon Sash, or Sturdy. So I bring in Politoed and protect my Gothitelle to avoid getting knocked off. They actually U-turn, which tells me that they're Assault Vest and Trick Room. Another reason why I didn't want Archaludon out in the field. I felt like Trick Room was coming. So now I Perish Song, because my thought is, okay, Incineroar and Farigiraf are both low damage output. So if I can Perish Song, they won't be able to kill me. But the Incineroar has U-turn, so the Incineroar will be able to U-turn out. But the Farigiraf has no way of switching out. They knock off my Citrus Berry. But I can at least bring in Incineroar to lower their Incineroar's damage output, and if they Psychic into my Politoed slot, I take no damage. I fail a double protect, and they U-turn. I actually live because of the Intimidate, which is super important because if I died there, Farigiraf is able to switch out. But I was able to live. Trick Room is still up. Ursaluna's burned. Oh, right. I forgot to show, but I encored their Farigiraf into Nasty Plot. So the Farigiraf has not been able to do damage to my Gothitelle. Otherwise, they would have been able to knock it out with Hyper Voice and Knockoff. Because Knockoff knocks off the Citrus Berry, and then Hyper Voice knocks out the Gothitelle, which would have lived if it got Citrus Berry recovery. So now I let Gothitelle go down, because otherwise it would be useless. You see that it's actually not even Throat Spray, Farigiraf, Citrus Berry. Okay. So I think there's one turn of Trick Room left. Or did Trick Room just end? Oh, shoot, I wasn't paying attention. I bring in Politoed. Yeah, this is the last turn of Trick Room. I expect a Headlong Rush or an Earthquake into my Incineroar. So I Terra Ghost to live. And to be immune to a potential Fake Out from their Incineroar. Which they do end up clicking Fake Out into my Politoed, not the Incineroar, whatever. And we see a Headlong Rush into Incineroar. And I live on 4 health! 4! Oh my god, the EVs. This is why EVs are so important. Because if I got knocked out there, I lose this game. But now I have Incineroar in the back. At least I think I lose. I think I lose from this situation. I actually don't remember how the rest of the game goes. Because now... Wait, or is there still one more turn of Trick Room? Did it end? Okay, yeah, Trick Room's over now. So I have a free Weather Ball into their Ursaluna, which they're at -1 special defense, so it will one-shot. I think even without Headlong Rush, it would one-shot. But I see a better play. because I expected a switch out from the Ursaluna. Now, and also, okay, my Archaludon cannot one-shot the Incineroar. So by encoring it into Fake Out, they're now in a position where Incineroar is doing nothing on the field. They have no way of setting up Trick Room. So Ursaluna, you know, is a liability. I still have my Power Herb on my Archaludon. So I expect them to switch out the Incineroar into Ursaluna because they're locked into Fake Out. I should really be skipping forward. And they do just that. They switch Incineroar into Ursaluna. The Goldango gets hit by an Electro Shot, which, based on that damage, it actually would have lived, like from full health, it would have lived a Terra Electric. Also, there's no Life Orb, so yeah, they definitely would have lived a Terra Electric Electro Shot. So it's actually a good thing that they didn't lead Goldango this game. Because I would have tried to one-shot it and not one-shotted it. So I get the one-hit KO. And see, now you'll see why it was so important that Incineroar lived. Because they bring out their Incineroar, right? So they're threatening Fake Out on both of my Pokemon. Oh, never mind. I thought something else was going to happen this turn. But okay. I cover the Fake Out because they can Fake Out one of my guys, but they can't knock out either one of them. So I get one guaranteed attack into the Goldango, knock it out, that's the game. All that's left is Incineroar. My opponent forfeits. So now, my last game of the tournament. And it's up against a pretty standard Regulation H team. It's like a balance rain sort of comp. So I'm thinking, okay, I see a Goldango. I'm leading Archaludon. That's like always my thought. Their only ghost type is Goldango. So Gothitelle Archaludon looks amazing. Because if they don't lead Goldango, then they have two Pokemon that are trapped. If they do lead Goldango, I'm one-shotting that thing with Electro Shot. So I go with my normal standard core 4. They lead Incineroar, Goldango. This was a super common lead that I ran into a lot. Was Goldango, Incineroar, and I actually ended up... I would win in these situations most of the time. So basically, they're threatening me with Fake Out. So I always want to protect my Archaludon, usually, to block that Fake Out. But if they don't click Fake Out, if they like Nasty Plot and then maybe they Fake Out my Gothitelle instead, then I'm like way behind. And so I found that it's actually, my best play is usually to just try to attack the Archaludon. I mean the Goldango, and then switch into Incineroar. Because what that does is, if they protect the Goldango this turn, they won't be able to protect the following turn, and then I can knock off into them. So even if like I waste my Power Herb, I can knock off into the Goldango. And this also refreshes my Fake Out pressure for the following turn. And I found that like a lot of players actually don't click Fake Out into Archaludon very frequently, like we see right here. So they end up not clicking Fake Out at all. And I get a free Terra Electric Power Herb Electro Shot. I hit into the Goldango, and we get the one shot. And at this point, I'm like, I did it. I did it. I had 5 games left in my global challenge, and I won all 5 of them. To go from, I think I was at like 1580, 1590 rating to a final rating of 1638. A final global placement of 232nd and a NA placement of 74th. And I won my first ever championship points towards the World Championships. In my first ever online tournament. Thank you for the follow, LJ Hartman. I appreciate that. All I have to do is not choke. That's all I have to do. Let's see what happens. You like that timing? You like that little cinematic YouTube intro? I don't know. So, another great turn for me. I protect the Rillaboom's attack, and I get a knockoff into their Assault Vest. So now they have no Assault Vest, and I'm +1. I'm thinking my Dragon Pulse should KO the Rillaboom. So I just go for that. And then I switch Gothitelle back in to try to trap their Rillaboom, and the Archaludon, of course, and also get Fake Out Pressure again. We see that they Terra their Archaludon to Electric, and they Grassy Glide my Archaludon to break my Sturdy, but the Dragon Pulse, I don't know why it's lagging a bit. The Dragon Pulse does KO, right? And then they Electro Shot into my Gothitelle, but my Gothitelle's very bulky, and it will live that unless it crits, I believe. Oh wait, no. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, they actually target the Archaludon, and because of the Grassy Glide damage, it knocks me out. And so now I'm a little worried because I've used my Terra, right? So if I bring out Politoed, I activate the Rain for them. If I bring out Incineroar, their last is their Incineroar, right? My Incineroar is slow. And, I don't know. I went from a very winning position to now I'm at risk of this Archaludon just sweeping the rest of my team. I don't have any good answers for it. Like, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can like knock out the Archaludon with Incineroar, but they're at full health, right? And so I realized that I think my best odds of winning this game, because their Incineroar is also at full health, my best odds of winning this game, I think it's Perish Song. Wait, did I mess up here? Wait, why did I not switch? Did I not switch Gothitelle to Incineroar? Okay, good, I did. Okay, good. I thought I didn't switch Gothitelle to Incineroar, which would have just been an insane misplay. It would have lost me the game, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure I won this game. Yes, okay. I switch in Incineroar. And I protect, because they have Fake Out Pressure. And I expect them to try to Electro Shot my Politoed. They end up clicking Fake Out into the Politoed because they're worried about Perish Song. And then Electro Shot. Now, they used Taunt on their Incineroar. Turn 1. Okay. If their Incineroar is faster than my Politoed, then they can Taunt my Politoed, and I lose the game. That's it. So even though I started out in a good position, really good position at the beginning of this game, if their Incineroar is faster than my Politoed, I lose this game, which would just be heartbreaking. It all comes down to how fast their Incineroar is. Now, most people that run Taunt Incineroar run like really fast, like max speed. So let's see what happens. Parashon comes out before the taunt. Now, they do taunt because they probably are fast Incineroar, but not max speed Incineroar. And now at this point, I have won the game because I have one Pokemon in the back. Classic Perish Song endgame. I can click Protect on both my Pokemon. And then I can just keep spamming Protect. Well, actually, no. That's right. I can't Protect Politoed because it got taunted. So I switched Politoed out into our Archaladon. Archaladon gets knocked out. Oh my god, wait. I forgot it ended like this. Okay, so I don't have a guaranteed win because of the taunt. If my Politoed wasn't taunted, I double protect, I protect both, guaranteed win. Because Politoed was taunted, I have to switch Politoed into Archaladon. Archaladon got knocked out. My Incineroar got taunted. So now, they knock out my Incineroar because I just protected my Politoed. There's one more turn left. I just protected my Politoed. This entire game, my last game of the Global Challenge, the game that determines whether I'm top 300 or I end up at like number 500, I don't know, is a double protect that I just got and I kind of just blew past. But yeah, it came down to a double protect and I got the double protect. I can't believe it. Oh man. For sure one of the happiest moments of this entire GC for me. Rain stops, Perish Song, knocks out Incineroar and Archaladon, and that's the game. I finished with a rating of 1648.488, using all 45 of my battles. Right here, I'm at 221, but my final ranking ended up being, I think, 232. But yeah, that was my global challenge. I had so much fun. I can't wait to compete in the next one, January 9th, that weekend. Still need to make my team for it, but yeah, I was planning on playing Elden Ring, but I am really hungry and thirsty. Thank you everyone who tuned into the stream. I gotta thank you to Adam A2Z Gaming for the raid, and all the followers. Thank you to Cosmic Cool Guy 165 for the prime subs, my first subs. And yeah, just thank you everyone who participated in this stream, sent any chat messages, hung out with me. I will be making a YouTube video for this, editing this stream into a YouTube video. I hope to have that out sometime in the next week. Yo, when you stream next? Today is Saturday. Tomorrow, actually. I'll be streaming tomorrow. My next GC run, I don't think I'll be streaming. I'll be streaming the run because I usually play worse when I'm streaming. So I'll probably do what I did this stream, which was I will record the matches talk about them some. But I don't know. Maybe I might stream some showdown matches or something. I'll definitely be streaming tomorrow. Might be playing some Elden Ring. Maybe some showdown because I'm really close to top of the ladder. I'm currently like number 22 in the Reg F ladder, so maybe I could try to get to number 1. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the follows. And have a good night. Peace.